At the moment, the Royals' best pitcher might be Luke Hochevar, who has allowed just 2 runs in his last 14 innings. This afternoon at Kauffman Stadium, he'll try to beat the White Sox for the first time and end the Royals' 4-game losing streak. Welcome back to the ballpark. Happy 4th of July with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and some of the great traditions of the 4th of July in this country: fireworks, barbecues, and baseball.
Well, Ryan, I tell you, for me, it's great to have a day game on 4th of July. You know, we celebrate the nation's birthday, and families get together, they have barbecues, and normally we were the last attraction of the day, come to the game to watch the game and hopefully get a win to top the night off and then have fireworks afterwards. But having an afternoon game here is great for me because now I get a chance to be like a fan and go home and celebrate the 4th of July with my family and barbecue and watch somebody else's game tonight and then fireworks.
Well, hopefully we'll be celebrating a Royals win today. Today is also about 4 ALS awareness. The number 4 representing Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, who was number 4, and today is the 4th of July. And it was 70 years ago today, on 1939, that he made his famous speech at Yankee Stadium. We're going to hear that speech now, recited by some of the best Royals in history.
Fans, for the past 2 weeks, you have been reading about the bad break I got.
Yet today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of this earth.
I've been in ballparks for 17 years and never received anything but kindness and encouragement from you fans.
Look at these grand men. Which of you wouldn't consider it the highlight of his career just to associate with them for even one day?
Sure, I'm lucky. When the New York Giants, a team you would give your right arm to beat and vice versa, sends you a gift, that's something.
When everybody down from the groundkeepers to the boys in white coats remembers you with trophies, that's something.
When you have a wonderful mother-in-law who takes your side and squabbles with her own daughter, that's something.
When you have a father and a mother who work all their lives so you can have an education and build your body, it's a blessing.
When you have a wife that's been a tower of strength and had more courage than I dreamed existed, it's the finest I know.
So I close in saying that I may have had a tough break, but I have an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
There's Lou Gehrig with Babe Ruth, some of the original Bronx Bombers, and Lou Gehrig was the Iron Horse, once a consecutive game streak of 2,130, eventually surpassed by Cal Ripken Jr. Well, you've heard one of the most famous speeches in baseball history, and now we'll take some time on Independence Day to listen to the most famous anthem in the world, today's Star-Spangled Banner, presented by Diana Robertson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free? And the home of the brave.
And the Royals will bring you on August 8th. The broadcast is called This One's For You. It'll be televised around the world on American Forces Network, and we'll recognize American troops serving overseas throughout the telecast. Fox Sports Kansas City plans to have a live satellite link that will enable us to interact with a local unit of the Missouri National Guard in Afghanistan. The first pitch is next. We are underway, and Luke Hochevar missing outside to Scott Podsednik, who has had an outstanding series for the White Sox, 5 out of 8, with a couple of runs scored and a run driven in. Second game in a row that both teams will wear the red hats to celebrate Independence Day. Three balls, no strikes. Hochevar facing for the White Sox for the first time this year and has never beaten Chicago. 3 prior starts before today. 0-2 with a 5.3 ERA, and Luke taking a little extra time after that 3-0 pitch to pull himself together, and now a 4-pitch walk to Podsednik. Here's the White Sox lineup presented by M&I Bank. Alexi Ramirez is back in there today after missing a couple of games with a bad finger. Jermaine Dye is the DH, so Jim Thome is out of there. Ramon Castro at catcher for A.J. Pierzynski, who's had a great year against the Royals. Dwayne Wise is in right, and Brian Anderson is in center. And here is Alexi Ramirez. Jason Nix played at shortstop for the first 2 games of the series.
Ryan, with Podsednik at first base, Luke's really got to pay attention to the running game. He has been exploited by the running game, mainly from lack of paying attention to it, not varying his speed to the plate. So that's one area of his game he's really got to keep a strong concentration on.
Ozzie Guillen tried to use his running game last night, but 3 different runners were gunned down by Miguel Olivo.
Well, it seems like when you look at the numbers of the caught stealing versus steals, it looks like he's still going to force the issue. and still try to force teams to make the plays. And I think that's not a bad approach, because it's better than sitting back hitting the double plays. And his team in the middle especially is big double play candidates.
And I got to think that puts some pressure on the pitcher and the defense, knowing, hey, these guys might take off at any time.
Well, especially on the pitcher, the catcher, and the middle infielder. So the middle infielders really have to be the ones that will be heads up because of coverage more so than anything else.
Not running, and Ramirez pulls it through the left side, reaching out over the plate, and singles on an 0-2 pitch, and the White Sox have 2 on with nobody out. As we take a look at the key of pitching report on Luke Hochevar.
Well, Ryan, with Luke had a 2.94 ERA since returning from the minors, and he is a ground ball pitcher, 81 ground ball outs to 47 fly ball outs, but it basically needs to get ahead. And you look at the average when he's ahead, it's 147. Now that's pretty dominant right there.
Well, he's ahead of Ramirez, 0-2. He singled to left, and now Jermaine Dye. This will be a test for Hochevar, because this is a team, the White Sox, that have a lot of veterans, guys who know how to work the count and aren't afraid to hit with 2 strikes.
Well, definitely not afraid to hit with two strikes. He's got to make better pitches with 2 strikes. That pitch to Ramirez was a breaking ball, but it stayed up and it's in the middle of the plate. So he wants to get that ball more to the outside corner, more off the plate than on the plate.
Guy pops that pitch up. Got it in on his hands, and Meyer in center field retires Dye. 1 down in the first. DeJesus, Meyer, Guillen in the outfield. That's been the same alignment all homestand. Tien back at third, Bloomquist back at short, Callaspo at second, Butler at first. Miguel Olivo starts for the 55th time this year. So 2 on, 1 out, and the batter is Paul Konerko. A best case scenario for Luke Hochevar is a team that just goes up there swinging early in the count, and we saw the best example of that when he beat the Cincinnati Reds on 80 pitches. But the White Sox are going to make him work a little harder today.
Well, they're swinging the bats a lot better this time around, so they have a better idea of what they want to do. But the biggest thing right now, Ryan, is when you're throwing 2-seamers and sinkers, you don't want to throw for the corners. You want to throw your sinker to the middle of the plate and let it go down. Let it work from the middle of the plate in and out, or throw it off the outside corner and let it come back for maybe a 3rd strike. But you don't want to try to paint with a 2-seamer, the first pitch to the hitter.
That caught the inside corner, 1-1 to Konerko. 3 out of 8 with an RBI. He's also struck out 3 times in the series. Luke won on Monday, the beginning of this homestand against Minnesota. 7 innings, 2 hits. He did walk 4 and had some control problems early. 4 walks in the first 3 innings, but the Twins just couldn't get the big hit against Luke. And then Luke finished strong, retiring 11 of the last 12. Royals won that game 4-2, and that's the only win so far on the homestand. Podsednik with a 4-pitch walk to open the game. Ramirez followed with a single, and now 1 out. And Luke and Miguel Olivo have had a tough time getting on the same page with this 1-1 pitch.
Well, he's also aware of Podsednik at second base is 1 out. Good time to steal third, and he's got to make sure he takes a look at him. Well, that time he didn't look at all, so that might have been they do have a sign where you say no look pitch, where and then the next time you look once, maybe look twice the next time, but you got to keep varying your looks back at second base.
Olivo gunned down Podsednik, trying to steal second. Among the 3 runners that Miguel threw out last night. Also A.J. Pierzynski and Dwayne Wise. Konerko went around. He's not happy with that call and glares down at first base umpire Andy Fletcher. That's a big call. Instead of 3-1, it's 2-2.
Well, these are always tough calls. When I was doing my first base coaching, they said the dark bats are the ones that are toughest to call because they can't really see how far they come through the zone. But on that one, Paul had a pretty good argument right there.
If anyone's going to feel sorry for Paul Konerko, it's not going to be Miguel Olivo. After what happened in Pittsburgh. 3 balls, 2 strikes. A couple of games ago, Miguel serving his 1-game suspension, the end of the Minnesota series, after contesting a check swing in Pittsburgh last weekend with home plate umpire Phil Cuzzy. And Konerko pulls it to the left side, tee into second, and Piaspo turns that into a double play. Shaver gets out of the first. And savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. White Sox scoreless in the first. Here's the Royals batting order presented by M&I Bank. Willie Bloomquist back in the lineup. He's at shortstop, a late scratch yesterday because of a family emergency. Mark Teahan will be at third. He got the day off. Mike Jacobs, the DH, followed by Piaspo, Olivo, and Mitch Meyer. Facing right-hander Gavin Floyd. Here's the Kia scouting report.
Well, Ryan, he's tough on our table setters. Your 1-2 hitters hitting 206, so that's not good for the Royals because you want your middle guys hit with men on base. On the road, he's been rough. 5.80 earned run average, so that should be one of those areas the Royals look at and say, okay, he's not good on the road. Maybe we can get 4 or 5 runs on the board today.
DeJesus 3 hits and RBI in the first 2 games and has a 6-game hitting streak. This is the 3rd time this year the Royals have faced Floyd, and they have done well against him. He dueled with Zach Greinke in Chicago in the 2nd game of the season. And then the Royals pushed him around when he pitched here in May. 12 innings against the Royals this year, and he's given up 8 earned runs. Hit hard to left field, but Sednick is there, and David is out number 1. Unseasonably cool for the 4th of July. 78 degrees. Temperatures in the upper 70s the last 2 days, lower 80s the day before that. 12:10 first pitch. Time at 10 brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. It could easily be 20 degrees warmer than this.
Oh,
easily.
We've seen some 100-degree 4th of July. It's usually one of the hottest days of the summer. Ryan Orozco used some of those 8 earned runs today. They've been in such a drought for runs. I mean, just to have a great game where you come out and score 10 runs a day would just lift this team to a tremendous heights, I would think. 3 games for 1 run and 1 shutout, and so it's been a while.
Chop to Ramirez at short, and Bloomquist is out by a step. 2 down, and now Billy Butler. We hope you enjoy this 4th of July broadcast in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. I don't think that's what the Royals had in mind when they started passing out halter tops for today.
Well, is he with her? What do you think's on their minds today?
I don't think we want to go there. Do you want to tell him, or should I, that the Expos no longer exist?
They're just like guys in halter tops. Don't exist.
1-2 on Billy, who is just 1 for 8 in the first 2 games. Singled in the 9th inning last night for his first hit. One, 2, 3, down go the Royals in the first. Lloyd with his first strikeout. Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Taco Bell, try the new bacon cheesy potato burrito. It's big bacon taste guys can't resist. Ramon Castro leads off and takes ball 1 from Luke Hochevar. Luke opened the game with a 4-pitch walk to Scott Podsednik. Alexi Ramirez singled, but then dive flied out, and Konerko grounded into a double play. 1-1 on Castro. Another example of Luke finding ways early in the game when he doesn't have his best control to get out of an inning.
Well, when you got a sinker, Ryan, as good as his, you can always get your ground ball, and you're always a pitch away from a double play, and that's what he got in the first inning. And that's to me, that would be my confidence pitch if I was Luke. I would say that is the best pitch in my whole repertoire because I can get my ground balls. You get ground balls, you have a better chance to getting outs.
2-2 on Castro.
Oh my God.
We're also passing out wrestling masks today as Castro grounds out. One down in the second inning. And speaking of wrestling masks, here's Joe Goldberg.
How's that for a segue, guys? I'm out in right center field behind Mitch Meyer. We have seen Mitch make 2 great defensive plays here on this homestand, and last night had a basket-style Willie Mays over-the-shoulder type of catch. He said the wind was blowing the ball both ways. He was facing the wall. He didn't want to turn to his left because he didn't want to take his eye off the ball. Felt if he turned to his right, he might lose his balance, so he just kept his eye on the ball, caught it coming over his shoulder, said that he expected to catch it, would have been upset if he didn't catch it, and John Givens, the bench coach, was giving him a hard time, saying he looked like a punt returner. And, oh, by the way, Mitch, the former high school star quarterback, said he used to return punts back in his day, guys.
And the most important thing when you're returning punts is to catch the ball. Here's the catch that Joel was talking about.
Well, that's the one when you almost, you know, the good thing about that catch, his head really never followed the ball into the glove. He just wanted to make sure it cleared his face first. And the glove was in a great position.
Well, Chris Getz was ruled to be hit by that pitch. The ball did hit the dirt. But the last time I read the rule book, the base runner does not get first base when the ball hits the dirt.
Well, I'm surprised that Miguel Olivo didn't really complain as much. So maybe it clipped his pants. He got those baggy pants. So maybe that was the thinking. But normally your catcher would be the number one guy to know whether the ball hit the batter or not.
Good slider for a strike to Gordon Beckham. So 1 on, 1 out. Beckham's been at third base the entire series. We have not seen Josh Fields, who has played very well against the Royals this year. Fields not having a good year overall, but pretty good numbers against KC. Getz will steal. 11 stolen bases this year, thrown out once. And he's running again. And that's line to right. It drops in front of Guillen. Getz going to try for third. Here's Guillen's throw. Now down to second base. And out is Beckham. And may have injured himself as he landed heavy on that headfirst slide into second base. And that's what Trey Hillman's talking about when he says he wants his team to play catch.
Well, you got to be able to catch the ball and throw the ball, and Jose Guillen did a great job there. The thing that probably could have happened better there, Mark could have been on the other side of the ball. See how he had to go across there, make that move a little earlier, and then you come up looking to the next base. So, but they were able to really get this play made, which is kind of neat. But that is like, oh my God. Oh my goodness.
Well, if we start a new list for slides, we have a winner.
Oh my goodness, man! He whiplash, knock, concussion, everything on that one.
And Wise drives it into center field, and Chicago takes a 1-0 lead. You know, sometimes when a baseball player does something on the field that isn't very graceful, you can make a connection to another sport. But I can't think of one sport where that move would look good.
Oh man, unless you're a mermaid. I mean, you very rarely you see a guy extend his arms and all of a sudden his arms go back behind him like that. And you know, it's just fortunate that he didn't really hurt himself any worse than that. You looking at broken nose, concussion, or anything. So normally momentum will keep those arms out in front of you. But
I hope that's dirt on his chin. I mean, he may have scraped up his lower lip and his chin.
Well, your teammates remember that too. I'm sure he's probably getting a pretty good razzing in the dugout.
One and one on Brian Anderson, who started on Thursday and then came on defensively late last night. 0 for 3 with a walk. And now keeping a close eye on Dwayne Wise, who has good speed but hasn't translated into a whole lot of stolen bases this year. He has stolen only 2, and he's been thrown out 3 times, including last night by Miguel Olivo. And Anderson was grazed by that pitch. So Hochevar has nailed 2. Supposedly, didn't look like the first one got Chris Getz. This one may have just nicked the jersey.
Yeah, this shirt's hanging out pretty loose, and I think that might have been on the first one too, Ryan. The pants all baggy. It might have clipped the pant leg as it went by. But I'm sure if Luka is going to give up a hit by a pitch, you probably want to do a better job than that. But that's what you call when you're throwing that 2-seamer. When you start it in off the plate, it's just going to ride in further. So that's why I say you have to trust this pitch down the middle of the plate. And the catcher should really just sit in the middle of the plate when you call that pitch and just let the ball do what it does. It needs more plate to work. And if you start it on the outer half, it's going to end up way inside.
Today's Firestone leaderboard, Scott Podsednik has the 2nd best road batting average this year, trailing only Ichiro Suzuki, and right behind him, A.J. Pierzynski, who is not in the lineup today, and those 2 have done a lot of damage against the Royals this year. Podsednik walked to open the game on 4 pitches. So Hochevar getting an out with a ground ball to begin the inning, then a hit batter, a single, a runner out on the bases, another base hit from Wise to score Getz, and a second hit batter. And now Tien comes over from third base, helps settle down Hochevar. Podsednik, when you think of leadoff guys, you think of getting on base and scoring runs, but he's been one of the best in the league this year, hitting with runners in scoring position. Two and one. He is the 4th best at 352. With a big RBI guy, Kevin Youkilis, followed by an MVP. Marlon Byrd having a good year with the Rangers, and another MVP behind him in Justin Morneau. So Podsednik is in there with the big boys. 2 and 2. Now this is the difference we've seen in Luke Hochevar since being called up to the big leagues for the 2nd time this year, as opposed to the first time in last year. His ability to find the pitch when he doesn't have his best control to get out of an inning. And he gets a ground ball to Callaspo. Flip to second, close play, but Bloomquist gets there in front of Anderson, and that's the inning. White Sox score a run. Jose Guillen takes a strike. Kevin Seitzer, Jermaine Dye, and Frank White have in common in Royals history on the 4th of July.
Well, as usual, you're telling me something that I don't know again.
About your own career.
I know. I don't play too long.
2-1 on Jose Guillen. You call it, presented by Sprint, your favorite game on the 4th. The last 20 years, Jermaine Dye hit 2 home runs at Cleveland, 6 RBIs. Kevin Seitzer went 5 for 5 in '91. Frank White and Bo Jackson with home runs as the Royals beat up the Yankees 13-6. Guillen grounds to third and is out. He's 0 for 7 in the series. Or Bo Jackson with 2 home runs in '89 as the Royals beat up on Oakland 10-1. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. A. Jermaine Dye. B. Kevin Seitzer. C. Frank White. D. Bo Jackson. That was not Kevin's best game. That was in '91 when he went 5 for 5. In '87, on a hot August day here at Kauffman Stadium, he went 6 for 6.
I'll tell you, 5 for 5 is a lot of hitting in one day, and that's something that I wasn't able to ever do as a hitter. And I think that when you can put 5 hits together in one day, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good day. You don't get any better than that unless you go 6 for 6. So that makes him doubly good.
1-2 on Mark Tien. Kevin Seitzer. A little trivia question for you, Frank. When Kevin went 6 for 6, that was the second time in Royals history that a Royal had 6 hits in a game. And there was a Royal after Kevin Seitzer who had 6 hits in a game. Can you name the other 2?
Told you I played too long. Played with too many guys. I would say Mike Sweeney maybe being one.
3-2 on Tien.
I'm going to book with you.
Well, now, see, going into the book, I'm asking you a question here. I'm just going into the book to double check that I've got my facts straight.
I mean, George would be an obvious guy to put in that category.
Did he go? No. Tien with a 1-out walk. Third base umpire is Ted Barrett. So the Royals with their first base runner. 1 on 1 out against Floyd, and Mike Jacobs to the plate.
Cal McRae would be a guy that I would put in that group.
You've not yet come up with one of the correct answers.
And I'm going to stop.
As Denny Matthews used to say to me when we do trivia questions on radio, outstanding guess, but wrong. The first one was an original Royal whose son later played in the big leagues and is still playing in the big leagues.
Oh, I know who that is. Because you only have one guy whose son was a pitcher, and that was Bob Oliver.
Bob Oliver, Darren Oliver pitching with the Angels now. So Bob Oliver was the first, May the 4th of '69. 4 singles, a double, and a home run. One and 1 on Mike Jacobs. 0 for 7 so far in the series. And the other Royal was with the team when you were part of the coaching staff.
Well, let me see. That'd be a guy to get a lot of singles, occasional double, occasional home run. I'll take a wild guess. I'd say Joe Randall.
Very good. We have a winner. 5 singles and a double. And 6 hits in a game is an American League record.
How about all of them playing third base?
Three and 1 on Jacobs. So Floyd retiring the first 4, but walking Tien. And now falling behind Jacobs whose average has dipped down to 223.
I had a question. Would you rather have 6 hits in the game, Ryan, or 6 RBI in a game?
6 RBI. I mean, because those 6 hits, well, you know, those 6 hits could be 6 runs scored, but I'd take the 6 RBIs over the 6 hits.
So the 6 RBI might be just 3 hits, but you kind of winning in both ways in that case.
Tien not running, and Jacobs strikes out, and that's probably why Tien was not running. Jacobs strikes out, and now 2 down. That's a second strikeout from Floyd.
Yeah, that would probably be the case right there, Ryan. When you're a high strikeout guy, managers don't like to do that strikeout, throw them out, double play. So that is really one of those things that kind of hurts you as a manager when you know you can't really trust guys to put the ball in play on a regular basis. So you tend to do the more conservative route than the more aggressive route.
And now 0-1 on Alberto Callaspo, who has hit in 6 straight. 2 hits in this series with a run scored. The Royals have had unfortunate timing the last 3 games, facing good pitchers who are pitching very well at the time. Mark Burley on Thursday, John Danks last night, and now Gavin Floyd has not lost in well over a month. You have to go back to May the 27th, the last time that Gavin Floyd took a losing decision. And over his last 8 starts, his ERA is 1.39. He's gone at least 6 innings over that stretch, and 7 innings or more in 6 of the 8 starts. So this is a pitcher feeling pretty good about his stuff today.
Well, the team's scoring runs too, Ryan. He's got to feel good going into the game that he's going to get some runs on the board, and they've had a good stretch of wins and a lot of good support on both sides.
A 17-game winner last year, Floyd, and was rewarded with a 4-year contract in spring training this year. And he is a big dude, 6'5", 230 pounds. 2-2 on Callaspo. Oh, did you know that Johnny Depp was going to be here today? Floyd strikes out his 3rd, and the Royals are scoreless in the 2nd. Baseball and Farmland Foods is on Friday, July the 17th at 4:45. A special exhibition game featuring members of the Royals Hall of Fame against former Major League stars. Special ticket packages can be purchased at royals.com/HOF Classic. Come out and watch Frank, who has promised and predicted that he will be the game's MVP.
I think the word you used, that the first word was watch. Watch him do what? It should be fun though. Guys really like to get together and do those type of things. So it should be a fun day.
Gosh, it's got to be 15, 20 years, maybe even more, when Ramirez grounds one over the bag and into left. To Jesus on it quickly, and Ramirez going to try for two. David's throw arrives just a little late. Ramirez almost slid by the bag. So he has a leadoff double. And after missing a couple of games with a bad right ring finger, he is 2 for 2 today.
Well, this is a sinker that ran down and in. He was able to, he likes to open up quick, and the ball down and in he was able to get to and kept the ball right just inside the third base bag. And then from there, it's all legs from there. He just right out of the box, running for a double, never slowed down. David made an excellent play, an excellent throw, but it was with Ramirez's speed, he was able to get in there.
Now ball one to Jermaine, flied out in the first inning. Anyway, 15, 20 years ago, with the popularity of the Old Timers games, remember there was a former player Old Timers League where they got a lot of guys together. It only lasted one summer, but trying to build on the success of the PGA Senior Tour.
Well, I tell you, golf's a lot easier than baseball when you're a senior. I tell you that. that was a whole lot of guys dreaming right there, I tell you. I think if you do it recreationally and fun, but when you're doing it for money and fans have to pay to come watch it, I don't think that's going to work. I knew that wouldn't last very long because the quality is just not there.
Dye drives it to deep left. De Jesus is back, and Jermaine hammers his 19th of the year. The White Sox take a 3-0 lead. RBIs 49 and 50 for Dye. So both he and Paul Konerko have driven in 50 this year.
Well, Jermaine's been swinging the bat really well, and Luke throws a right-hander a changeup, and we said earlier that when you throw a right-hander a changeup, the ball's got to turn over, and this ball didn't turn over, Ryan. This ball just stayed right in the middle of the plate, and Jermaine just picked on it. It was up, over the plate, and he didn't miss the pitch.
And now the other White Sox 50 RBI man, Paul Konerko, rolled into a double play to end the first inning. 2 balls, no strikes. Only the 6th home run that Luke has given up all year. And now Konerko into deep left center field. Off the top of the fence. And Meyer with a good throw. Got him at second base. How about that turn of events? So close to back-to-back home runs, but a good throw by Meyer. And the White Sox are out on the bases.
There's a fastball, straight fastball, 91 miles an hour. Konerko really jumped on it, Ryan. He really drove this ball to left center field. Meyer played it well off the wall and made a strong one-hop throw to Casco at second base to get Konerko.
There is more to that literal punch out by Ted Barrett, the umpire at second base. He's a former boxer who used to spar with George Foreman. So Ted Barrett is the umpire at third, but because of the shift, that's a second base umpire, Greg Gibson, but because of the shift, it was Ted Barrett's call. And Guys don't argue very long with Ted Barrett. 3-0 on Ramon Castro. So the former boxer, but the players say he's one of the nicest guys as far as umpires go.
Yeah, I first met Ted in '04 in the fall league, and I mean he was he was just really starting to move up in the umpire ranks, and we talked about that a lot, about him sparring with George Foreman. And he said the one thing that he always had to be careful of is that he just had the big hands, you know, and every time he hits you, you can just feel those big hands hitting you, so he had to move a lot.
And Ozzie Guillen knows about Ted Barrett because, as Paul Konerko argued quickly, Ozzie Guillen came out, realized it was Ted Barrett. Up, you know, I'm just going to go back to the dugout, because when you're on the field, as we've told you several times, and this also includes fists, you want to keep balls and fists off your lips.
That's a good indication they've had some past experiences right there. Well, he just, I'm just going to not do it this time. So he just goes back to the dugout.
Ozzie's team has won 7 in a row, 10 of their last 13. And over that stretch, including the 3 runs today, have outscored their opponents 49-17. So there's 2 stats there. There's the 49 runs, which means the offense is doing its job. And then the 17 runs allowed, which means the pitching is doing its job.
And you know what that equates to? That equates to wins.
Smash in and out of the Royals dugout. 0-2 on Chris Getz, hit by a pitch and scored the first run in the second inning. Still 0-2. Gets a 4th round pick of the White Sox out of the University of Michigan in 2005. White Sox also drafted him out of high school, so they really wanted him. And 3 years after being drafted was in the big leagues. Got his first big league hit against the Royals last year. Against a Royals pitcher you've probably forgotten, Josh Newman. But Newman went to Ohio State, and their biggest rival is the University of Michigan. So that matchup had some meaning. Luke strikes out his first, 2 down in the 3rd inning.
I want to make a correction on Ted Barrett. It was 95 when we were in the fall league, and not 04 when we first came across.
And now Gordon Beckham. And he gets underneath one. De Jesus waits. And that's the inning. White Sox get 2 on the Jermaine Dye home run. to ALS. He's the first recipient of the George Brett ALS Volunteer of the Year Award. Joined by his family today, has been a longtime advocate and volunteer for the local chapter of the ALS Association. He's enjoying the game from the Buck O'Neill legacy seat at today's game. Three to nothing White Sox. It'll be Miguel Olivo, Mitch Meyer, and David DeJesus in the bottom of the third. If you'd like more information or would like to make a contribution, go to MLB.com/4ALS. 4 for the 4th of July and 4 for the number 4. It's Lou Gehrig's number. All the players wearing patches on their jerseys throughout baseball today. I have heard the beginning of Lou Gehrig's speech 1,000 times. Today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Miguel Olivo has just walked for the 3rd time this year. Gavin Floyd walks his 2nd. And now Mitch Meyer. But I tell you what, today might have been only the 2nd, maybe 3rd time that I've heard the speech all the way through. And it is a very heartfelt, eloquent, and very moving speech. You know, Buck O'Neill was at Yankee Stadium that day. One of the things that Buck just kind of would casually mention, like it was no big deal, watching Babe Ruth hit. And he happened to be at Yankee Stadium that day when Lou Gehrig made the speech, 4th of July, 1939, 70 years ago today. Meyer with a slow roller to Getz. Out at 2nd. That's all the White Sox will get. So Olivo is cut down. And Meyer at 1st with 1 away. Take a look at today's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison. A couple of big guys, both 6'5", and can get up into the mid to upper 90s if they need to, but for the most part relying on movement of their fastball rather than velocity. Remember, you can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Ball 1 to David DeJesus. Out on a fly ball to left in the 1st inning. Two 2-0. At some point, that little girl is going to turn around and start paying attention to the game. It might not be for several years, but for now, she's just happy to be with Dad at the ball game. Two and one. They hope she becomes a fan like this eventually. That's the biggest fan Mark Teahen will have for the rest of his life, for sure. Anderson fading back and into left center and gets to DeJesus, who has flied out twice. So 2 down after the leadoff walk, and up comes Willie Bloomquist. Willie grounded out to short in the 1st inning. This is Willie's 190th at bat this year. He has passed his total of last year and the year before. His career high is 249. That was back in 05, but it looks like he's going to pass that as well. And there are a couple of guys, both in the lineup tonight, and both happen to be playing in the middle of the infield, that are getting a lot more playing time than they're accustomed to. Alberto Callaspo has already well surpassed his career high for at-bats in a season. That's out of necessity because of injuries, but at the same time, keeping a close eye on these guys once we get into the dog days of the season.
Well, we haven't hit August yet and haven't hit the middle of July, and I think that's when the heat warms up and the guys really have to, like I said, the pacing of what you do on a daily basis has to change. How many swings you need to take, how many ground balls you need to take. So you limit yourself on the field so you can save more for the game. So everybody has to cut their program back a little bit, and each player has to determine when that time comes.
Myers running, and Bloomquist fouls it away. I just don't see guys doing that these days. It just seems like they need to be in the weight room all the time. They need to be taking batting practice, and when batting practice is over, that's just the beginning. They're back in the cage again, taking more swings.
Well, probably too many swings, Brian, in my opinion, before the game. They do their front toss, and they do all that inside the cage. Some guys turn on the machine and hit off the machine. Some guys hit throughout the course of the game. But when you go out there and it's 90 degrees on the field, and you're talking about trying to save something for the game, you have to know how many ground balls you need to be ready for the game, or how many swings. And on a hot day, I would take 5 ground balls right at me, 5 left, 5 right, and I will maybe turn about 5 double plays, and that's it for that. And then if I start my batting practice and I hit line drives 4 or 5 times in a row, then that's it on that too.
Meyer got a very good jump off Floyd, so he's down to second without a throw. His 4th stolen base of the year. Now it's 3-2 on Bloomquist.
Yeah, I think what you're looking for, Ryan, is you're looking for strength late in the game. So you want to, when you go to that 3rd at bat in the 6th, 7th inning, you want to make sure you feel just as fresh as you did in that 1st at bat. So you do that by limiting all the stuff you do in pregame.
Meyer colliding with third baseman Beckham, and he is out, and the inning is over. So interference on Meyer, and Beckham will get an unassisted putout. At the end of 3. So Luke Kochaver back to work. He's given up 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. Dwayne Wise driving in the 1st run for Chicago with a 2-out single in the 2nd inning. And then Jermaine Dye hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd. Slicing deep and into the corner, and DeJesus onto the warning track. Retired Dwayne Wise. 1 away. Here's the final out of the bottom of the 3rd.
Well, Mitch coming down from second, he hasn't allowed a fielder an opportunity to field the ball. And here they just got tangled up right here with 2 outs. Mitch could have waited for him to pass by, but that's a situation where he could have been hurt pretty bad right there. You can take a look at him here. He sees the ball. Now he picks up Beckham, but for some reason they got there at the same time. But this is where Mitch has got to slow down and let him go by.
It looked like from that angle that Mitch was trying to go around him. He wasn't making a direct shot to the bag. See, he wasn't coming straight to third, but Beckham didn't continue to charge in.
Right, he was a little slow. He should have been by Mitch by that point on that ground ball. But the base runner is always going to get penalized when the ball's not there and he runs over the fielder.
We got to get all of our interference and obstruction calls squared away. Typically, interference when it's the runner interfering with the fielder, obstruction when the fielder's getting in front of the runner, and then you can also have some incidental contact. O'Chaver with his second strikeout. Anderson is down. 2 away. Here's Joel Goldberg.
Well, guys, we had a chance, of course, the last time the White Sox were here to talk about Jeff Cox, and he had gotten that pie in the face and just kept on talking and talking as he does. Well, right after that, Octavio Dotel went up to him and said, you know, I got a problem with you. You need to lose weight, Cox. So you're too. There you go, 2-out story. Back to you.
That's great, Joel.
All right.
If you'd like the rest of that story, go to AskJoel.com. Up on Sunday, July the 19th, it's Youth League Day, sponsored by Schlitterbahn Vacation Village, and the Royals have a giveaway just for kids. 10,000 kids 14 and under will receive a Golden Glove in honor of Royals great Frank White, who won 8, according to Major League Baseball, 9, according to Royals fans. Billy Butler takes ball 1. You actually have 9 Gold Gloves, right?
I actually do. Yeah, the fans really felt bad that I didn't win my 9th Gold Glove after making 4 errors on 150 games, and so they presented me with their own version of a Gold Glove, which was much nicer than the original Gold Glove. So I have 9 unofficial.
Harold Reynolds won it that year, right?
Yeah, now that I look back on it, Ryan, I'm kind of glad he won that one, because I tease him all the time that it was that one glove that he won that got him on ESPN with ESPN. Now he's MLB doc, so I really got his career really going in broadcasting. So I said you got to have something to hang your hat on, and that was that one Gold Glove.
2-1 to Billy. Went down swinging in the first inning, and just 1 for 9 in the series. Royals have had 2 base runners in the first 3 innings, walks by Floyd, and Billy pops that one up to shallow center. 1 down in the bottom of the 4th. We have a long ways to go, and I'll try and count this as a jinx, but Gavin Floyd does have no-hit type stuff. He has thrown a no-hitter in the minor leagues, an A-ball in 0-2. Last year came very close to pitching a no-hitter twice. Against the Tigers, he went 7 1/3 innings, so he had 1 out in the 8th, and then Edgar Renteria ended that with a hit. And then against the Minnesota Twins, 8 1/3 innings, so he had 1 hit in the 9th. But unfortunately, he had to face Joe Mauer in the 9th inning, and Mauer with a hit. That's 2 no-hitters that he took at least into the 8th inning last year.
Well, that's not encouraging.
Well, as I said, we're going to use it as a jinx. Deanne grounded out to 3rd in the 2nd. 0 for 7 so far. Hit hard to center. Anderson long run and runs it down. Well, the White Sox haven't been able to find a center fielder that can hit like Aaron Rowan did, but they have plenty of center fielders who can run the ball down.
Well, if you have a center fielder, Ryan, that can run the ball down, and with the middle of the order that they have, that can protect a guy that's not hitting that well, with Tomey and Dye and Konerko, and then the pitching, the way the pitching's going, then you want that guy out there that can run the ball down. So that's a plus for the White Sox right now.
Anderson drafted in the 1st round out of the University of Arizona. The White Sox still waiting for him to come around, but he is on the right team to be a good defensive player, because his manager, Ozzie Guillen, was someone who didn't do much with the bat, but had a long career because of what he did with the glove.
He can play defense, and he played with a lot of energy. He could turn to double plays. He was a smart player, and I think that's what, back when we came up during that time, that's what we did. We played defense up the middle. We bunted guys over. We set the table for the big guys, because you had guys around you that could drive the ball out of the ballpark. Your job was to play defense and set the table, and until probably 82, 83, then it kind of turned a little bit, where your middle infielders started becoming a lot of run producers, and then that kind of changed a little bit.
Guys like Cal Ripken first,
yeah,
and then after that, Alex Rodriguez and Nomar Garciaparra.
Right, and before that, it was guys like Robin Yount. Then it was Lou Whitaker. Then I started hitting home runs, and then it was Paul Molitor. So it just really started to turn a little bit, and for what reason I don't know, but it looked like middle infielders for a while there were doing a lot of damage offensively. I think Tommy Hurd with the Cardinals had 103 RBI one year. So
Tien walked his first time up, and now 3-2 against Floyd. Still 3-2.
That was just a long list of guys. You had Robbie Alomar. It was just a lot of guys all of a sudden in the middle of the field that started hitting for some unexplained reason, but it was fun to watch.
Konerko to Floyd, and Floyd has 4 hitless innings. 3-0 Chicago. Royals fan, and we're glad she's here today and hoping the Royals can get back into this game. 3-0 to the White Sox. Royals still looking for their first hit against Gavin Floyd.
Well, we're saying that Gavin Floyd's thrown a no-hitter to this point as a jinx to get the Royals going, but the Royals offensively are overdue, and you like to see them get something going in this game. And Luke is battling out there, made it one bad pitch to Jermaine Dye, but for the most part is doing a good job on the mound today.
One around, says Greg Gibson. So 0-2 on Alexi Ramirez, who has 2 hits and a run scored. Ramirez, Dye, Konerko coming up here in the 5th inning. Dwayne Wise singled home a run in the 2nd. Jermaine Dye hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd. Shallow center field and a long run for Meyer, and Mitch runs up to get it. So Ramirez is out, 1 away. And now Jermaine Dye, and let's get back to You Call It, presented by Sprint. We asked you your favorite game on the 4th of July, and 36% saying in 1990 when Frank and Bo Jackson hit home runs. That's because fans love Frank, fans love Bo Jackson, and fans hate the Yankees. So that's the perfect storm.
That, by the way, was my last year, too. So thanks, fans. I appreciate that very much. Keep voting.
Jermaine hit his 19th of the year in the 3rd inning today. Also driving in his 49th and 50th runs. Frank, I remember early in his career when he got to the Royals, Chili Davis was still here. And Chili Davis, this was before Jermaine really did anything in the big leagues. He said, I see a young Dave Winfield.
I remember that. Yeah. Yes, I do remember him saying that for sure.
Pretty good comparison.
Yeah, I tell you what, to be compared to Dave Winfield, you got to bring a lot to the table. This guy not only was a good outfielder, but he got good power. He ran hard. He played the game hard. So broke up double plays. I mean, this wasn't nothing that he wouldn't do on the field to win. 3,000
hits, Hall of Famer Dave Winfield. Jermaine in his 14th year, and he's had some pretty serious injuries as a big leaguer. He homered on the very first pitch that he saw in the big leagues in '96 with the Atlanta Braves. Went to the World Series that year with the Braves. They lost to the Yankees. Shortly after that, traded to the Royals with Jamie Walker for Keith Lockhart and Michael Tucker. An unpopular trade at the time, but turned out to be a very good trade. Just wish he could have stayed longer.
Well, I tell you, when I was the outfield coach and I had an opportunity to work with him, I mean, he was just so much fun to work with because he was so fundamentally sound. And you just had to tell him one thing. You take him through the lineup the first time, and you didn't have to worry about him the rest of the day. He just remembered everything. And it was just great to have all those guys I had, with Beltran and Johnny Damon. It was just fun to work with those guys.
1-2 on Konerko. It'd be interesting to take all of the games that Jermaine has missed in his career because of serious injuries and just take his numbers that he has now and just project them. If he had played all those games, might be looking at another Hall of Fame career.
Well, I tell you what, he had all the tools, and he's been able to put together some real nice seasons.
How about that swing from Paul Konerko, who has 13 home runs and 50 RBIs? A great example. That's something Kevin Seitzer, I'm sure, hopes that all the young Royals hitters saw. An accomplished hitter like Konerko taking that swing with 2 strikes, and he gets a hit.
And really, basically, Ryan, he just says, I'm going back up to Miller. He gets inside of this ball and really cuts it so bad it almost went back to Castro, but he got it in the outfield. But a guy that's a strong pull hitter, to be able to cut his swing down like that, that just shows you that he's been around a while and he understands the art of hitting.
Now Ramon Castro, he's grounded out and walked. Tien, nice backhand. A long throw, but has time with Castro running, and that's the inning. 4 hitless innings for Gavin Floyd. 2 walks to Tien and Olivo. And Mike Jacobs, who struck out in the 2nd inning, takes ball 1. There's the Royals' first hit. Jacobs with a solid base hit to right field. So that turns everything around. You go from trying to get your first hit and avoid the no-hitter to now you're just 1 runner away from having the tying runner at the plate.
Well, that's true, and Jacobs picks on a changeup right here, Brian, and stayed in the middle of the plate down, and really that's his power zone. When he gets in trouble, he starts chasing balls up, and those are the balls he fouls straight back. So if he can keep the ball down around his knees, middle, he's got a chance to really hit the ball hard on a consistent basis.
Callaspo also struck out his first time. The most difficult hitter in the American League to strike out. So Floyd has accomplished several things today. 4 hitless innings. He has struck out the toughest hitter in the American League to strike out, and he has walked Miguel Olivo. And that was on 4 pitches. Going for his 7th win of the year. And the White Sox, just like the Royals, they've had a nice stretch recently of good starting pitching. The Royals, in 6 games before today, the starter's ERA was just a shade over 2. Still 0-2 on Callaspo. The White Sox, over their last 13 games, their starter's ERA about 2.5. So you can take all the hitting in the world. If your starting pitching isn't getting the job done, your team's not getting the job done.
Well, that's true, and you kind of want a good mix of them both, and I think that's what the White Sox are getting right now. It's a good mix of pitching and offense, where the Royals are getting the pitching, but the offense just hadn't come along.
Jacobs snapping an 0 for 8 with that single to right field. And Callaspo drives it into deep right center. Extra bases. Jacobs to third. He's going to be waved home. Callaspo wants a triple, and he's in there. Royals are on the board. So there you go. The first hit really lifts the pressure. Now the Royals are right back in the game.
All it takes, like you say, Ron, is one guy to get it going, and Jacobs been overdue for a base hit, and Callaspo had a tough at bat last night, comes back today and drives a changeup in the right center field to plate the first run today. So that's nice to see those 2 guys work together.
Callaspo with his 3rd triple. And now Olivo pops it up. I was just going to say, Miguel Olivo absolutely has to get this runner to the plate. And the White Sox are playing about as deep as you can be on the infield. So all he needed was a ground ball.
Well, that's true, Ryan. And here you see Callaspo really split the outfielders, and you see Jacobs is really moving. He's moving hard to get around second base, and he's nonstop around third, and he knows he's going to score by this point. And Callaspo's watching him to see if Dave Owen's going to send him, and then he goes ahead. You can see where Alberto comes around, he picks up Dave, then he goes right into third base.
And now it's Mitch Meyer's job to get a ground ball at least up the middle. The only chance where a ground ball potentially would not result in a run would be to third base, where Beckham plays on the edge of the grass. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So with Beckham in at third, and Mitch has got 7 different ways to get Callaspo in from third base without even getting a base hit. Whether it be deep fly ball or ground ball at short, second, and first.
Into left field, Podsednik makes the play. So that'll get it done. And the Royals have scored 2 in the 5th inning. It's a 1-run game. So Meyer picks up a levo and also gets his 9th RBI of the year.
Well, this is one of those balls where Falsani being left-handed, he's going toward the line, and he had to turn his body around to make that throw to home plate. So that was an easy sac fly for Meyer to get Casper home from third.
David DeJesus hitless in 2 at-bats. Flyouts to left and to center against Gavin Floyd. Two breaking balls, 2 strikes, 0-2. 77 pitches for Floyd. 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Royals with their first 2 hits and their first 2 runs in this bottom of the 5th. And he finishes off the inning with a 3-pitch strikeout, but the Royals are back in the game with 2.
Had a fastball, slider, changeup, and then the 2-seamer is really the pitch that's really had that late movement that went away from his bat. So, you know, if I was Luke Hochevar, I would say, look, I just want to throw my sinker. I just want to get this ball over the plate, get my ground balls. And, you know, the ball that Konerko got his base hit on was a straight fastball, and then Jermaine hit that changeup. To me, the changeup is a developing pitch for Luke Hochevar.
Nice play by Bloomquist to get Getz. 1 away in the 6th. Here's today's Coors Light Freeze Cam, which includes Gordon Beckham, who comes to the plate. This slide into second base, or face plant, or belly flop, and then taken down on an outstanding open field tackle by Mitch Meyer. Your thoughts? Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
I think she liked that action.
Hit hard to center. Meyer to the track. Meyer at the wall. Beckham into the second row and straightaway center field. So Hochevar allows his second home run of the game, and the White Sox lead by 2.
Well, this is a sinker that didn't sink, Ryan. This is a 2-seamer that didn't move. It stayed right in the middle of the plate, and Beckham really Mitch did everything he could to try to make this play. That's about as high as I've seen anyone go up that wall this year. But the whole idea being that if the ball doesn't sink, then it gets hit. And I think that's what Luke's really got to make sure that when he throws that two-seamer, that he really gets good action on it and make the ball go down.
Dwayne Wise singled home a run in the second, and he flied out to deep left. So he's had a couple good swings against Hochaver. One ball, two strikes.
You know, to the Royals offense, I think they probably thinking of this has always been an uphill battle. You're trying to get back in the game. You come back, get within one, and then you go out. You're looking for a zero on the board, and then another run gets up ahead of you. So it's going to be a struggle to get out of this. But I think once they get over that hump, they're going to be okay. But they're not making it easy for themselves at all.
Well, it happens so often. A slumping hitter gets a hit, turns into a hitting streak. Slumping team breaks a losing streak, then all of a sudden they're a hot team. Wise strikes out. 3 for Luke today. 2 away in the 6th.
This is a good slider. He wants to get down underneath the swing, and he does a good job right there of getting that pitch down. It makes it look good enough, enticing enough for a lefty. And the lefty's an automatic zone and that ball down and in. So they really got to read that slider. And that's, that's Zach's bread and butter pitch also.
Ball one on Brian Anderson. Hit by a pitch in the second, struck out in the 4th. 1-1. Luke's got a pretty good slider this inning. Throws it again, 1-2.
I think he's going with what's working, Ryan, as he knows the slider's breaking well and he's able to command it. And he said in his last start, that's one thing that he really learned how to do. If a pitch wasn't there, he wasn't going to force it. He'll go to another pitch and then try to come back to it later.
Left center field. David started back, now dives, and it's off his glove. Anderson trying to turn it into a double, and he does. So David didn't get a great read on it. Anderson hits his 8th double of the year.
Well, you're right, Ryan. This is another breaking ball slider that stayed up out over the plate. Anderson didn't really hit it that well, but David broke back on this ball, and that was enough for the ball to be in there. He kind of broke back, then you had to come across, and then the ball just fading because it wasn't hit that well. And Mitch Meyer does an outstanding job of backing this play up.
Podsednik has grounded out twice and walked. So he's been quiet today after coming up with 5 hits in the first 2 games. Nobody covering at second base, just trying to keep Anderson close. When he batted in the second inning, we showed you that Podsednik is one of the best in the league with runners in scoring position. Down 1 ball, 2 strikes. Beckham is homered, and with 2 outs. Anderson with a double. Levo keeps that close enough, so Anderson holds at second. 2-2 on Podsednik. Tim McClellan giving Miguel Lebo a little extra time after taking that one off the chest. Combination of signs to Hochevar with a runner at second base. Still 2-2. Still 2-2. You know, at that last foul ball, someone's in the concourse just ordering a hot dog at the concession stand. And then the cattle call.
You get clipped and they'll know why you're getting clipped.
Here comes the stampede. Right to Cayaspo. Podsednik is out. White Sox done in the sixth, but get another run on the Beckham home run.
Bottom of the sixth inning. This is our Sonic Slam inning. And our contestant is Jan Masters from Bonner Springs, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Jan, you will win $500. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, you will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Willie Bloomquist, Billy Butler, and Jose Guillen. Gavin Floyd opened the game with 4 hitless innings. Gave up 2 runs, 2 hits in the 5th. And Bloomquist squirts one into right field. He's 1 for 3. So the Royals with 2 in the 5th. White Sox getting a run back in the top half of this inning. And back come the Royals with the leadoff man on. And now Billy Butler just 1 out of 10 in this White Sox series. 0 for 2 today. He has struck out and flied to center against Floyd. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. 1-0 on Billy. Royals have a stolen base today. Mitch Myers stealing second against Floyd and Castro. That's the only attempt all series. It's 2-0 on Billy. I bring that up because 70 times this year someone has attempted a stolen base against the White Sox, and 61 times they've been successful. But only one stolen base attempt so far. Of course, first game of the series, you have Mark Burley on the mound. No one's going anywhere. 2-1 on Butler. Willie's running. Down and away. Castro's throw is late. Well, there you go. The Royals running on the White Sox. Bloomquist swipes his 15th of the year.
Well, I think they were listening to you, Ryan. They said, oh, we forgot about those numbers, so let's see what we can do about them. Well, we put the jinx on them and we got the base hit going, so now we got the stolen base going. So now we got to get a rally jinx.
How about the Royals have not homered yet in this series? Still 3-2 on Butler, or make that now 3-2 on Butler. Floyd does not give up many home runs, 8 all year, and that covers about 108 innings. Under the chin, 2 on, nobody out. That's a third walk given by Floyd, and 2 on for Jose Guillen. Like pitching coach Don Cooper was going to come out to the mound, but he's going to stay in the dugout. Anyway, the Dick Howser Hall of Fame figurine is part 2 of the 4-piece collectible anniversary set. 20,000 fans will receive this figurine Saturday, July the 18th, when the Royals host the Rays. That's one day after the Hall of Fame game. 1-800-6-ROYALS, Royals.com, the Kauffman Stadium box offices, or area Hy-Vee food stores if you'd like tickets. Now Don Cooper does come out of the dugout, and at the same time the White Sox go to work in the bullpen. Well, down by 2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And this is how the Royals want to set it up. 2 on, nobody out for the number 4 hitter, Jose Guillen.
Well, he hit the ball well his last at bat, Ryan. So if he can get that ball a little higher or get in the alley, then that would be a big, big blow for the Royals right now.
1 around on the first pitch. 0-1. And that hard hit ball was to the middle of the warning track to center field on a good play by center fielder Brian Anderson. Rolled to second. Tough play. Ramirez not in time. Ramirez was not at typical double play depth. So that helped the Royals avoid the double play. First and third, 1 out.
Ramirez probably playing the hole over the shortstop side, but he did a good job coming over just to get that 1 out, and Billy did a good job going in hard at second base to keep Ramirez from getting his feet set on this play. As Jose's really hustling right from the standpoint he hit this ball. It was a slider down and away, which you probably didn't want to swing at, and you didn't get irritated, so you got to do the next best thing, which is hustle to first base.
So first and third for Tien. He takes ball one. 0-4-1 for Tien with a walk. Trying to avoid a double play, which has really hurt the Royals in the past 3 games. They have not grounded into a double play today, but grounded into 8 double plays Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I think Floyd wants to stay away from the pull side of Tien. I think they're going to try to run the ball away from him, Ryan, and try to get him to roll over and hit a ground ball. And Marsh has got to go back to his swing, staying behind the ball, driving it to left center field.
Two balls, no strikes. So you don't want a ground ball to avoid the double play. The fly ball is what the Royals need. And the Royals have only 10 sacrifice flies all year.
If he pitches in the way he did David hits at bat, he throws that backdoor breaking ball and try to catch the outside corner, and that'll get you to roll the ball to second base.
3-0.
Now my question here is, do you let him swing right here?
Well, they have a lefty warming up in the bullpen with Mike Jacobs on deck. I'd let him swing away.
I'd say pick your pitch, make sure it's a pitch you can drive, and go ahead and drive it.
Well, that's the kind of pitch you figure Tien would line into left field. May not be what he was looking for, and as we've pointed out several times, some hitters don't like swinging on 3-0.
Well, I think it's such a big opportunity, and you want to make sure that you get a pitch you can handle. If you're swinging a bad pitch on 3-0, it really makes things look worse than they are.
Fouls that one away, and now 3-2. Pitch before might have been a better pitch.
Yeah, it looked like it was the pitch he really wanted. You can tell by his facial expression that he wished he'd went ahead and swung at it. But sometimes you can look for, really too good a pitch, and rather than look for that borderline pitch up that you can get in the air and drive to the outfield.
Bloomquist opened the inning with a single. He's at third. He ended first, reaching on a fielder's choice. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Tien 2 hits on Thursday. He was off last night, even with Willie Bloomquist being scratched. Trey Hillman wanted to give him the night off completely. Didn't use him as a pinch hitter late in the game. With no off days before the All-Star break, and Tien a bit banged up. Into center field. It's a 1-run game again. Well, Bloomquist to the plate. And now the tying run at second base with 1 out. Tien drives in his 29th.
But he fouled off some tough pitches at bat, Ryan, and here's one that stayed down in the middle of the plate, and he was able to drive the ball back through the middle. Something he's done a lot this year. He really stayed on it, stayed through it, hands turned over. Good line drive up the middle. Now, he's one of the ones you're fortunate you missed a pitcher on.
in the 5th and the 6th have come up with 3 runs, 4 hits. And now they force Ozzie Guillen to go to his bullpen in the 6th inning. And Matt Thornton, hard-throwing lefty, comes on for the 33rd time. League hitting just .214 against him, and he can be tough on left-hand batters. So with 2 on, 1 out, and Guillen, the tying runner at second base, Trey Hillman is going to pinch hit Brian Pena for Mike Jacobs. .325 average for Pena in 18 games. Jacobs was 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. It's a fastball at 95 from Thornton. And it's inside 2-0. Jacobs 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Thornton.
So Brian Pena, right-handed, Ryan. He wants something out over the plate to drive to the opposite way, and Thornton's got the kind of fastball they want to crowd him inside so he can't get those hands extended.
Broke his bat, slow roller, tough play Beckham, but makes the throw on target to Konerko. But Guillen moves up to third, and Tien with good speed at second. Tien is the go-ahead run, and that brings up Alberto Callaspo. So you get Mike Jacobs out of the game by bringing in the lefty, but you move Alberto Callaspo over to a much stronger side of the plate.
Yeah, this is where he's really got to keep his swing short. If he lengthens his swing at all against Thornton, he's going to suffer the same consequences as Brian Pena as a broken bat. He's got to make sure he just stays short, try to stay to the right field side, and I think he'll have some success. But if you overswing, then the momentum goes to Matt Thornton.
Almost hit him.
It's really a good approach by the White Sox right here, because both Pena and Caspo like to hit the ball the other way. So that means that they're really susceptible to the strike on the inside corner, and it's usually because of lack of bat speed and being able to turn on that ball on the inside.
2 balls, no strikes, and this is really lining up for the Royals. Hitters count for Callaspo. We just showed you that he's 99 points better from this side of the plate. And in his only 2 at-bats against Matt Thornton, he has doubled both times. 2-1. Final game of the series, final game of the homestand, final home game before the All-Star break. All of that tomorrow at 1:10. Royals live at 12:30. It'll be in HD, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Fastball up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Callaspo tripled home a run and scored in a 2-run 5th inning. He has hit in 7 straight. Three and 2. Stranding almost 70% of inherited runners this year. He inherits 2 in this bottom of the 6th inning. And Callaspo into shallow right center. It drops, and the Royals are going to take the lead. Make it 3 for 3. Callaspo against Matt Thornton.
Well, he doesn't try to do too much, Ryan. This is one he wanted to be inside, but he was able to stay back and really just push the ball to the way he wanted to hit it to begin with, to right field, and he was able to hit it hard enough to get it out into right field, and teeing off and running with 2 outs, scored very easily.
Olivo pulls it to Beckham. He'll go the short way, and that's the inning. But the Royals come up with 3. They're all charged deployed and have taken the lead. On 3-0, but 2 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th. Alberto Callaspo with a 2-out, 2-run single, and now the Royals into the 7th inning with a 1-run lead, and Luke Hochaver with a chance to win his 4th game. So he departed after the top of the 6th, down by 2, but he's the pitcher of record, and the Royals ahead by 1. So now it's up to the bullpen. And Cruz will get Alexi Ramirez, Jermaine Dye, and Paul Konerko. Ramirez missed a couple of games with a finger injury. Back in there today. 2 hits and a run scored. Second straight game for Juan Cruz. Retired the side in order in the 9th inning last night with a strikeout. One ball, 1 strike.
You can slowly see Cruz changing his pitching pattern, Ryan. He's normally a guy that comes in and try to throw that sinker 93, 94 miles an hour, but you know he's starting to use his changeup more here. He uses back-to-back sliders to start Ramirez out, so that's a definite change in pitching pattern right there.
And he jumps ahead 1-2 on Ramirez. White Sox had a 3-0 lead at the end of 4, and it was 3-2. They got a run in the 6th to make it 4-2, and the Royals with 3 in the 6th, and now Ramirez into center field. Mitch Meyer gathers it in, 1 away. And that brings up Jermaine Dye, 1 for 3 with a 2-run home run. StubHub.com is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Kansas City Royals, and you can see just how easy it is to score great seats to any game. Just go to StubHub.com. Ball 1 on Jermaine. for 3 against Cruz with a couple of strikeouts. 2-0. Jermaine, the DH today after starting the first 2 games in right. Jim Thome getting the afternoon off, at least from the starting lineup. Two and one. Jermaine did not appear ready for that pitch.
I think Cruz, they know him as a power guy. Usually he comes out of the pen throwing his power sinker, but he has. I think Ramirez only saw one fastball in his at bat, and here's Dye seeing sliders also.
3-1. Full count. So first time in almost 3 weeks the Royals have had a 3-run inning. And they had a stretch of 4 straight games where they had scored 2 runs or less. They put that to an end today with 5 and a lead into the late innings. Two outs in the 7th. Cruz strikes out Dye again.
This is good slider. He's got it working, Ryan. It really came out with a whole new pitching pattern today. The sliders seem to be the pitch of choice. He does have that changeup that he hasn't used yet, but the slider's been the pitch that's really gotten the right-hand hitters off balance this inning.
Paul Konerko 2 out of 3, 2 singles. Want to know on the White Sox captain. Jamie and I were talking on Thursday night about how Konerko put up great numbers in the minor leagues with the Dodgers. They just didn't have any room for him. Traded into the Reds. He wasn't there very long. Traded to the White Sox. He's had a great career in Chicago. Last year was the first time he went on the disabled list, so he's in there every day.
They say, regardless of what the scouting reports say, he's in there every day. You just never know what's going to happen in this game. You swing and bat, you never know.
Great pitch. 1-2.
He's got a real good sequence here. Fastball on the outer half, then it comes back with the changeup, and then it comes back with another fastball. So he's doing a great job of keeping the ball down and really changing his pitches, mixing his pitches well in this inning.
Just missed the corner. One walked off the mound and off of your screen. I don't think Tim McClellan appreciated that.
No, when the umpire's standing with his hands on his hips, Miguel kind of took this pitch back as if he was trying to steal the outside corner with it, and Tim McClellan didn't fall for it. But they don't like it when the pitcher leaves before they make the call.
And staring down at him afterwards. He's going to have to hit the bullseye on a thimble to get a called third strike now. McClellan is still staring at Cruz. Now he breaks eye contact. Popped him up to shallow right. Guillen brings it down. 1, 2, 3. Down go the Sox at the top of the 7th. Stretch time on the 4th of July at Kauffman Stadium. Stan Robertson, who performed the national anthem, also God Bless America today. And as we learn, watching the fans in the crowd, it is appropriate not only to take your hat off during God Bless America, but also your mask.
Or your cape.
Now the mask is back on. Panera Bread takes us around the American League with the Royals coming up in the bottom of the 7th inning. Boston leading the East, tied with Seattle. Toronto in front of New York. Yankees 2 games back. Detroit will be at Minnesota. Tigers winning in 16 innings last night. 2.5 game lead. Oakland at Cleveland. Tampa Bay at Texas. Texas tied with Los Angeles for first place in the West. Matt Thornton got the last 2 outs of the 6th inning, but he gave up a 2-run single to Alberto Callaspo. Those runs were charged to Gavin Floyd, and he stays on for the 7th. It's 0-2 on Mitch Meyer. It's driving in a run in the 5th inning with a sac fly. Alberto Callaspo has driven in 3. So Tien with 1, Meyer with 1, Callaspo with 3 driven in. Still alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mitch has also made a good play on defense today, throwing a runner out at second base from the warning track in left center field, fouling off a fastball at 97. Canerco back in the 3rd inning, trying to stretch a single into a double, and Meyer throwing him out. Now Beckham into foul ground, gets Meyer. 1 down in the bottom of the 7th. Wednesday, July the 22nd is Ink College night and 70s retro night. You'll enjoy happy hour specials, 70s trivia, and disco dancing. There you go, Frank. $5 view level infield tickets, a 70s kind of price. You're a disco guy, weren't you? Come on.
Oh, let's say I sweated a lot.
What was it about disco music? Remember, it was not cool to like disco music. I mean, what music makes you feel better, more better than disco? You know, I mean, doesn't disco just makes you feel good?
Well, once it makes you get up and move.
Yeah.
You know, Travolta showed us that.
De Jesus extends his hitting streak to 7 games, 1 for 4 today. Plus, I mean, who wouldn't want to put on a white blazer with a huge collar and some high-heeled shoes, you know?
I think it's the clothes. The clothes more so than the music, I think.
Willie Bloomquist coming up. Ozzie Guillen coming out. And Octavio Dotel coming in. that wig. See?
Now, you cannot compare a brother's fro with being patriotic.
You can't? Now, is that your real hair?
Yeah.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Hair. Yeah. That's a sign of the times, I'm telling you. I can go back there if I have to. But oh, my God. Red, white, and blue fro and a brother's afro.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, if you were colorblind, you know, I mean, if you couldn't tell that there was red on one side and blue on the other.
Oh, that's reaching, guys.
You know, Denny Matthews is very proud of the fact that he's colorblind. And, you know, so, you know, Denny might look at those two pictures and just see two curly hairdos.
I don't think I'd want to be colorblind. Now, does he have to put his clothes on by numbers, or he just doesn't care?
No.
How does he match?
Well, that's a very good question. Denny wearing his bright red shirt today. Denny has, as far as I know, oranges, reds, and shades of brown.
So he wears blue.
Yeah. Oh, and 1 on Willie Bloomquist facing Octavio Dotel.
There got to be a numbers thing. When you're colorblind, you got to put the things together by numbers. So that'd be the only way to do it.
Well, Denny has great fashion sense, so he obviously has a system before he gets dressed and comes to the ballpark. What are you laughing at?
I didn't say a word.
That's what Denny thinks about our conversation. Joel, what do you got?
Well, remember that 2-out story a long time ago about Octavio Dotel and Jeff Cox?
Was that today?
I don't know. I think it was last homestand. Anyway, last time Jeff Cox was here, the third base coach, he got the pie in the face, and Dotel said, "Hey, Cox, you're fat." So Cox said, "Well, Dotel, put your money where your mouth is." They had a bet. He had to go down and get under 200 pounds. By the time they came back here to Kansas City, he was at 217 weighed in the other day. He was 197 pounds. So he ended up winning $500 from Dotel, another $500 from Jim Thome, and he was very animated when he told that story. I know that's hard to believe.
Well, hang on. That was a little over a month ago. So
right.
20 pounds in a month?
He said he went with a diet of running, eating well.
A diet of running.
Yes. Running, eating well, and no beer.
Okay.
And he dropped it. He's never really all that calm, is he?
I think his metabolism burns pretty high as it is, so all he had to do was just settle down for a minute.
Well, he called it the old-fashioned way. Diet, running, eating well, and no beer.
And there he is with his bottled water.
See? Well, he's not going to be drinking beer on the bench.
Well, that's a good point.
Still the only guy I've ever seen that can continue to talk while he has a shaving cream pie in the face.
Joel, did you get any hits at AskJoel.com for not finishing that story about 5 innings ago?
No, but I remember when you brought up AskJoel.com or whatever it was months ago, and then somebody I think probably posted on Facebook or one of those sites that there is an AskJoel.com, and it was some company in some other part of the world or something like that. So I stopped checking it, Ryan. But send all of your stories, all of your favorite Ryan and Joel 2-out stories. Frank never has too many of those. To AskRyan.com/2-out stories.
Well, our producer, Kevin Shanks, he makes sure I don't get those 2-out stories. He always gets in my ear and say 2-out story.
So I guess basically you have to have your number retired for our producer, Kevin, to spare you those.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
I'm learning. I'm in a learning process here.
Obviously we're not. Frank, you got a good story right now?
No, it's 2 outs, guys.
All right, Ryan.
My stories take too long.
Apparently ours do too.
3-1 on Butler. 0 for 2 with a walk today. You start a story with 2 outs and you don't finish it, then people stay to the commercial because they want to hear the end of it.
If you can get back to it. Look how long it took us to get back to Joe.
Off the end of the bat, caught by Getz. That's the inning. We go to the 8th. Royals lead 5-4. But with AJ Pierzynski announced into the game, Trey Hillman going with John Bale, so he'll get a couple of left-hand batters. Pierzynski, then Getz, and then a right-hand hitter, Gordon Beckham. So Bale, last time he appeared was on Wednesday against Minnesota with 2 on 2 out in the 8th and walked both batters, one of them with the bases loaded. from one pitcher who looked great in the 7th inning to a pitcher who hasn't pitched well lately. Jumps ahead of Pierzynski, 0-1. Last 3 outings at game Wednesday, 2 walks, 2 runs, 3 hits Monday against Minnesota, and a 3rd scoreless. 1 man faced in Pittsburgh. But ahead of Pierzynski, no balls, 2 strikes.
I think when John gets in trouble against left-handers, especially left-handers, he's got some powers on his curveball, and if he doesn't really snap it off and get it to go to the other side of the plate, it hangs up there, and they take a good swing at it.
A.J. Pierzynski, the pitch before, fouled it to himself. That kid will never forget that. Look at what he's done against the Royals this year. And that's an over 30 at bats. That is not a soft 500 at all. You're not talking about 1 for 2 or 2 for 4. That's 19 out of 38. Four for 8 in this series. Tien going out from third, makes the play. So a good start for Bale. And 1 away. And now Chris Getz is going to be called back to the dugout.
Mark Tien showed a lot of range going down the left field line to make this play, and John Bell did a great job on that curveball, getting it down and away and getting Pierzynski to reach for it, and that induced that pop-up. That was a big pitch for John Bell.
So Bale will not get 2 left-hand batters. So gets back. Jason Nix will hit for him. So 2 pinch hitters for Ozzie Guillen. Trey Hillman elects to leave John Bale in there against the right-hand hitting Jason Nix. He has 2 right-handers warming up in the bullpen. But right next to Ozzie Guillen is Jim Thome. So you either want Nix facing Bale or Thome facing a right-hander. That's a decision Trey Hillman had to make. And it's 1-1 on Nix.
Well, you always want to stay away from the guys that are proven. And then Jim Thome is definitely proven, and especially proven against the Royals.
Nix homer to the game on Thursday off of lefty Bruce Chen. To Callaspo. 2 down. So 2 pop-ups from John Bale. And that brings up Beckham, who homered his last time up.
That pitch there, Luke just got that pitch right, just down out over the plate. And Beckham hit that ball to one of the biggest part of the ballpark, so he's got some serious power when he gets his pitch.
Last spring, he was playing at the University of Georgia. 1 ball, 1 strike. Very good athlete. He was a highly recruited quarterback in high school. His father, Gordon Beckham Sr., was a quarterback at the University of South Carolina. Off speed, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is John Bell's signature pitcher, Ryan, that curveball, and he's able to put that ball in the outside corner, get it down to the outside lower half of lefties, and that's a serious out pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Almost hit him on the foot.
Now, John Bell will occasionally drop down a little bit lower, but you really don't want that ball to go inside. You kind of want it to stay on the outside corner of the plate.
3-2. You know, Miguel Olivo just did something right there that he normally does. He throws the ball hard back to the pitcher.
Well, he does that. He does that to kind of get him to wake up a little bit, you know, try to get him to refocus.
To center field, Meyer is there. So Trey Hillman hands the ball to John Bale, and that strategy pays off. He has a 1-2-3 eighth inning. Jason Nix at second base. He hit for Chris Getz. And A.J. Przinsky behind the plate. He batted for Ramon Castro. And Octavio Dotel, who got the last two outs of the seventh, stays on to face Guillen, Tien, and Brian Pena. Oh, 0-1 on Guillen. Apparently, Octavio Dotel has extremely high standards for himself, because when he came out of the bullpen in the bottom of the seventh inning, he struck out Willie Bloomquist and he got Billy Butler on a pop-up, but that wasn't good enough. He was yelling at himself and slapping himself as he was coming off the mound. 1-2 on Guillen. So a strikeout and a pop-up, Frank, were not good enough.
I mean, sometimes you get the out, but maybe you didn't throw the pitch where you wanted to throw the pitch, and maybe you're fighting your location and just trying to get better in that area.
Dwayne Wise out in right field. Retires Guillen. This is when he walked off the mound after that strikeout and the pop-up. Yelling, smacking, bawling himself out. And Al Martin, who's driven in one of the runs. Walked in the second, grounded out in the fourth. Singled, run scored, RBI in the Royals' 3-run sixth inning. And it's 0-2. I'd say if the White Sox can go 6 or 7 innings as Joakim Soria gets ready for the ninth, if their starters can go 6 or 7, they've got things pretty well set up. The way their bullpen has pitched this year, with Bobby Jenks as the closer, Thornton and Dotel. Former Royal DJ Carrasco has had an outstanding season for the Sox. In fact, I heard the other day where Ozzie Guillen was talking about some of his players that he thought were worthy of going to the All-Star game, and he mentioned DJ, who's in the middle there. On the left part of the screen is Scott Linebrink, whose ERA is right around 2. There's an emphatic called third strike from home plate umpire Tim McClellan, and down goes Tien for the second out.
Well, Dotel throws this nice little little light changeup right out over the plate, and Mark couldn't pull the trigger on it. And Tim McClellan, he's really never been one of those really fatty guys, right? You just got to guess when that arm comes up, because he says it first, and then his body reacts second.
Brian Pena hits for the second time, grounded out to third as a pinch hitter in the 6th. White Sox against Soria have Wise, Anderson, and Podsednik coming up. Brian Pena, deep right, and gone. And now Soria will have a 2-run lead to work with.
Brian Pena picked on a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, so it was nothing short about this one. You can see his eyes right on this ball when he hit the bat. He got full extension through this ball, and the ball went into the bullpen.
Fourth home run given up by Dotel.
And that's a big insurance run right there, Ryan. That takes a little pressure off Sawyer coming in, and at the same time it gives everybody a little breathing room.
And now Callaspo, who has driven in 3 runs. So Brian Pena with his second home run as a Royal. He did have 2 home runs when he was with the Braves. Kevin Shank reminding me that that's an appropriate home run for Brian Pena. A home run on the 4th of July, the same year he became a U.S. citizen. Good for him. Brian in this series with a couple of other Cuban defectees, Alexi Ramirez, who is at shortstop for the White Sox, and a pitcher who is throwing well, and the Royals will not see him in this series, Jose Contreras. Callaspo takes a walk. Alberto on base 3 times today, and the Royals aren't finished in the bottom of the 8th. Miguel Olivo coming up. Ozzie Guillen became an American citizen the year after the White Sox won the World Series in 2005. He is from Venezuela. Remember last year there were a couple of times that Octavio Dotel hit Miguel Olivo. One of them almost resulted in a bench clearing incident. And then later in the season, these 2 teams did have a bench clearing incident, which involved Miguel Olivo and former Royal DJ Carrasco. That was on August the 3rd. Olivo charged DJ Carrasco, but then had second thoughts before he got to the mound. And then later in the game, Zach Greinke hit Nick Swisher, and Zach was suspended for that. 1 ball, no strikes.
But like you always say, Ryan, nothing beats good old fun at the ballpark.
1-1. Do you think there's more tension now with the umpires jumping in with warnings than it was when you played, when the umpires more or less just let the teams take care of it? If they needed to retaliate, you retaliate, and then it's over with.
Yeah, I think the old days the umpires understood the game, and they just kind of let the players handle it, and now the players don't get a chance to get that out of them, and that's what happens.
Royals had a run in the 8th inning on the Brian Pena home run. And now Joaquim Soria on for the 9th. Royals trying to out in Rivals Sports Bar after the game. It's Boulevard Royals Live with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. So Joaquim Soria going for save number 11, 2 blown saves this year. And he'll get the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Tony Pena Jr. is now at shortstop. Willie Bloomquist started the game at short. And Willie has moved into right field, replacing Jose Guillen. Dwayne Wise 1 out of 3 today with an RBI. 1-1. Jim Thome on deck. He's going to bat for Brian Anderson. One and 2. Wise deep into the right field corner, but he was out in front. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Luke Hochaver, still the pitcher of record, gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. And so far, an excellent job from the bullpen. Juan Cruz, 3 up, 3 down in the 7th. Same for John Bale in the 8th. Soria strikes out Wise, 1 away in the 9th. The fastball that had some run.
Well, Soria does a great job of working right on the corners, Ryan, and he does a good job with a little two-seamer here that sort of runs away from Watt. It just it looks in the middle of the plate, makes it tempting enough, then the ball fades away. It's an outstanding pitch.
Ball 1 to Jim Thome. Thome has faced Soria 5 times, has 1 hit, a single. 554 career home runs for Thome. Look out. The bat into the seats. The ball into shallow left. Caught by DeJesus. 2 down. And it appears that everyone is all right. A little fight over that bat. Man, that's dangerous.
Woo. That sharp end going in the stands like that. It's like a whirly bird going out there.
Great game for the Royals. Down 3-0. Didn't get a hit until the 5th inning against Gavin Floyd. But then tagged Floyd with 5 runs in 5 1/3 innings. Royals with 2 in the 5th, 3 in the 6th, 1 in the 8th. 1-0 on Podsednik. 0 for 3 with a first inning walk. This is Podsednik's first ever at bat against Soria. On the corner, it's 1-1. One and 2. $18,182 at Kauffman Stadium on the 4th of July. Just got a piece of it.
Joaquin has so much poise in these situations. You never see his body language change. You never know whether he's on or off, but he always looks the same on the mound regardless of the situation.
Struck him out. So Soria with a 1-2-3-9. And the Royals snap a 4-game losing streak. And they snap the White Sox 7-game winning streak. So it will be a happy 4th of July for the Royals.